Yes. When a rope is twisted, it will come to equilibrium only it has unwound itself. When a rope is wound or twisted, it will come to equilibrium when it completely unwinds itself. So is all the creation. This creation is the eternal got involved with names and forms. And it therefore takes onto itself the limitations of the names and forms, the limitations of the body, the limitations of the mind, the limitations of the intellect, and the limitations of objects, emotions, and thoughts. So therefore, this eternal caught up in these names and forms continuously struggles to get out of them. Continuously struggles to get out of them. For that, according to its level of understanding, according to its perception, it seeks various methods. Initially, it thinks if it has good food, it'll be happy. Good house, good friends, enough money. All these things he seeks one by one. As he grows, some understand these by themselves cannot. There's something obstructing, Amma. Amma, something obstructing. Curtain, is it?
Hariom, uncle.
No, Amma, something is obstructing. So all people from the aunt to the aunties and to Bhagavan, up to Bhagavan, not Bhagavan, up to Bhagavan, all are continuously trying to find their equilibrium like the twisted rope likes to unwind till it finds equilibrium. For this, they seek various methods according to their knowledge. The man is seeking his security and happiness in things outside according to what he thinks will give him security and happiness. That is the knowledge. As they evolve, some rare ones find whatever you can acquire, whatever you can possess, whatever you can indulge, not only they are finite, the experiences are finite, they make you dependent on them, they make you crave for them, they make you worry over failures, anxiety over the future. Hence, these things at best are only wounds of eternal sorrow. A man who seeks his happiness through anything other than himself, including honest recognition, name and fame. He is not seeking through dishonest means, but even then, once somebody feels he should be recognized for what he has done, or he feels that he has been ignored for what he has done, when he depends on anything outside, including these forms of God, Shastra says this, Bhagavatam says this, Bhagavatam says this, including the forms of God, including the Vedas, he still is incomplete, and hence there is always a craving which makes him dissipate in 1,000 ways. He is disturbed. You may think that an ordinary man is more disturbed because he believes only in eating senses. People who are having satsang, attending classes, these people, you may think, have less worries. It is not true. The subtler you go, the subtler are your worries, because the other man doesn't know the possibilities of happiness. You know what all can be obtained, and therefore your knowledge is greater, and proportionately your seeking is greater, your anxiety is greater, your worry is greater. So as a man goes on inquiring, at a particular stage, he is sure nothing in this world less than Godhood can give him completeness. But he doesn't know this. He only is disgusted with experiences of the world. He's seeking somewhere else. He is seeking through God also his conceptual God. He doesn't know what exactly can give him happiness, complete happiness. But since he is ready for that now, a teacher appears. When the student is ready, a teacher appears. You don't have to go in search of a teacher. When you are ready, teacher appears. And that teacher says, what are you seeking? I want completeness. I want fullness. I want freedom from limitations. I want freedom from death. I want freedom from sorrow, he says to the teacher. The teacher says, your wants are all justified, but you are seeking them in finite things. How can finite things and experience can give you infinite happiness? If it is infinite, in Vedanta, infinite has different meanings in science and all that. In Vedanta, infinite means at all times and at all places. If it is infinite, it has to be there everywhere. It alone can be there, because anything other than that is there, it cannot be infinite, because that space is occupied by something else. So it cannot be there in all places. So if it is infinite, it has to be there at all places. So it is in you, it is you. The teacher says, you got confused with the finite form. Just inquire yourself, what is the essential you? How do I do that? Very simple. All objects fade away. The subject never fades away. External world is your object. Your body is your object. Your mind is your object. Your intellect is your object. The one who can see the body, see the mind, see the intellect, please know who is seeing that. This is an exercise for all of you in meditation. Sit in meditation. All of you complain, I'm not able to control my thoughts. Why do you control your thoughts? Just observe the thoughts and see who is observing. Feel the presence of the one who is observing. All observed things or objects, including thoughts, they are not you. You are the subject. You are the one who is observing all the flow of thoughts. So just feel intuitively who is the one who is observing. That is you. This, if you are ready, if your mind is not distracted, if you have faith on the topic, if you have faith on the speaker, if you have the urgency to know, as I said now, in the few minutes, you should have got that experience. Because it's simple, that with this conscious of even the thoughts, when you say my mind is restless, let it be, it's an advantage because you can see the restless thoughts. The one who sees them is you. It doesn't take long time. After that, all that you have to say is, this is me, that is not me. I have several problems. This knowledge cannot help. You have several problems. All the problems belong to the body, mind, or intellect, which you are not. Therefore, you only have to continuously practice. I am the subject. They are my objects. I am not them. I am this. In this, the knowledge is complete. The practice is full. The experience will be full. This is the highest. Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. If somebody is not able to understand this, because of his several preoccupations, poor fellow, don't curse them, don't blame them, don't say they are all illiterate, ignorant, and egoistic. No, he wouldn't like to be that, but that's what he is coming. And everybody evolves in its own pace. You were also that earlier. Now you do not say because you have been blessed by a guru, they are all idiots and stupids and all that. Don't say that. All are evolving in their own place. So the poor man is not able to understand this because of his various preoccupations. Shruti Mata, all being her children, doesn't ignore anybody. She has a plan for all. She has a plan for all. So this Mata gives us, if you are not able to do that, direct understanding, direct feeling, direct experience. Come on, live in a way that your mind gets subtler and subtler. You throw off all those disturbing factors from your mind by reducing your preoccupation with the ego, by trying to attune yourself to that God, clean the mind to understand that. This is dharmic way of living a pravritti marga. So this is given. Now in this pravritti marga, as he is evolving, he believes that many things he himself cannot get. Many things he himself cannot get. Therefore, he tries to invoke God. You invoke them through karma, you invoke them through God. Both are karmas. Invoking through rituals, God. Invoking through your effort in the secular world. Both are karmas. Both are born out of need to fulfill desires. Desires are born out of your ignorance over the self. Therefore, ignorance at the spiritual level becomes the desire at the mental level, expresses as action at the physical level. So this can be secular, this can be religious. Karma. Karma can be religious, but both are avidya only, products of ignorance. He tries, he gets it. He gets the results of his actions. But that can maximum fill the belly, keep you living, and give a continuity to the tradition, family, etc. You perpetuate the lineage. Therefore, that is called the world of Pitrus, mains, ancestors, Pitruloka. Through karma, you can only get that much. Some people want subtler joys. They have a vague concept of Swarga. They have a vague concept of various devatas. They want the powers of those devatas. They want the blessings of those devatas. And maximum on that is Swarga. For that, they try to meditate on the particular devata in a particular way. That's called Upasana. They may get it, but still, that's also finite. That's also finite. There are also their grades. That is also a world of comparisons. And hence, there is no peace in that also. So in both, that is called Devaloka. Through actions, it is Pitruloka. Through Upasana, it is Devaloka. Both are finite. Both make you dependent. Therefore, both make you repeat an agony. And therefore, the Shruti tells you, anyway you are doing karma, you are doing upasana. The man who is doing karma, if he is not doing upasana, it doesn't give him anything. It's darkness. The man who does upasana is in greater darkness because he thinks that can give him something, and he becomes more dependent on that, and he doesn't get fullness. So the acharyas say, after doing karma, purifying your mind, do upasana. Do not stop with karma, or do upasana without karma. Please understand, very subtle point. I do not know why I took ESA, because most of my students have done many major things. This is a complex thing, so I wanted to do. But it so happens, in this class now, there are a lot of fresh people. Isavasya is most complex Upanishad. I am invoking Gurudev and making it complete and simple. I am clearing all possible doubts and making it simple. So you must be attentive. Only for anybody, there are only three ways: direct knowledge, otherwise karma, otherwise upasana, meditation. Direct knowledge is the best. If you are not seeking these through actions, secular or religious, it is still in the mortal plane. And upasana of the devatas, relatively, it's an immortal plane, relatively, but incomplete. and bondage is more. So, if you are not able to get to the Jnana Marga, through karma, reduce your subconscious mind, inclinations, likes and dislikes by dedicating the actions to a greater goal, dedicating the actions to a cause other than the ego. When you do that, the existing vasanas come out, new vasanas don't go in. Your mind is purified. With that purified mind, do meditation. With that purified mind, do meditation. Again, I repeat, because so subtle, you must catch. Some people only do actions, secular and religious. It's incomplete. Some people vaguely thinking of Swarga do Upasana. It doesn't give them fulfillment. But both done serially, cleansing the mind through avidya, karma, and doing meditation can integrate the mind and intellect. Cleansing the mind through karma, meditating with that cleansed mind, it gets integrated and then it can focus better. It becomes contemplative. So from one level to the other, it goes on. From this Devaloka, another Devata, Indra, Brahma, and then he gets released. Because he goes step by step, it is knowledge and experience through the integration of the mind and intellect, because of doing karmas to purify and then meditation, this path is called Krama Mukti. This anybody with a little guidance is eligible. Krama Mukti, everybody is eligible. In fact, most of us are going through that. None of us probably have got the knowledge on the first day or when the Guru taught directly. We all still have a vague concept. But gradually our understanding is evolving. Every day we are learning more and more. That's called Krama Mukti, liberation. This Krama Mukti can happen right now. The Krama Mukti can also happen after casting of the body in the astral plane. In the astral plane. Right? So now again I repeat. Jnana Marga, Pravritti Marga. Pravritti Marga, secular and religious karmas. After cleansing your mind through that Upasana, integrated, step by step you evolve into various lokas and then go to Brahma Loka. Brahmaji takes classes like this. And then at the end of Brahma's period, you also get liberated. That is called Krama Mukti. Krama Mukti can happen here. Krama Mukti can happen in astral plane. And it is said that at the end of Brahma's period, they are all figurative. They are all figurative. What is Brahma? Total mind intellect. Your identification with the total mind intellect makes you evolve there. The moment you got the knowledge, you are released from the total mind intellect. The Brahma Loka ended to you. You get there also immediate liberation, Krama Mukti. Not this immediate, Krama Mukti you get. That don't take it literally. You have to wait till Brahma's dissolution. Brahma is your association with the total mind intellect. It can happen in astral plane too. Okay. This is the essence of the complex shlokas 14 to 16. Now I shall take the verses. Not 14 to 16, 9 to 14. 9th verse says, Andham tamaha pravishanti yaha vidyam upasate. Andham tamaha pravishanti yaha avidyam upasate. Tato bhuya yavate tamaha ya bhu vidyayam rataha. They who worship avidya, they fall into blind darkness because it doesn't take them anywhere. Checker, checker, checker. Go to shop, do the business, come back home, every day repeat the same thing. Go to office, repeat the same thing. You don't know what for you are doing, living. You don't understand what for you are living. So it's blind darkness. You have no vision of the goal. And they who worship Vidya, that is Upasana, Devata Upasana, alone fall as though into even greater darkness because the dependence, the bondage, the limitation becomes even more than the ordinary man seeking through karma. And he says, the next sloka will tell you, both you have to do serially. So in between he says, why both you have to do serially? Anya devahu vidyaya, anya devahu avidyaya, iti sushramadhirana yaha naha tad vichachakshire. Those who explained to us, told us, they results of avidya karma, results of upasana are distinctly different. So what you should do, vidyam cha avidyam cha yastad vedo ubhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amrutamasmute. You must integrate both vidya and avidya. Two when you should do means not simultaneous. A man who is a grihastha is not fit for renunciation, sannyasa. So first, as a grihastha, cleanse your mind. Then, when you are fit, you take to the path of contemplation. Both must be there, but both are serial, not simultaneous. You need avidya, action. You need upasana, but not simultaneous, serial. When you do that, avidyaya mrityum tirtva, through purifying your mind and intellect, you have detached to a reasonable extent from the attachment to the body, mind, intellect, and to the world. You have come to the path of liberation. You are seeking the path freedom from there. You now have sought the right path. Also, avidya is karma. Through karma, you are leaving your footprints into the world, wherein through the effects of your work, through the various through your own leaving a particular pattern, you have influenced several people in life, right? And they continue. So you live through many of them. You are no more dead because you have influenced them through your actions. You have left something for others. And you have worked, so you become immortal, people remember you, all relative. So avidya mrityum tirtva, through rituals and through actions, you go beyond death. Means that's relative, not absolute going beyond. Vidyaya amrutamasnute, through meditation, you shall reach immortality. That's also relative, because that immortality where these two are clubbed, karma and upasana, is krama mukti, gradual liberation. You know, when we talk about amrita, Devas had amrita in the churning of the Milky Ocean. That amrita is also relative. The real amrita can only come through knowledge. You are discovering that I am that Brahman. If you have listened to me, if you have identified that, you are liberated. That is because once you have known that, you can never get confused. I told you the one subject who sees your thoughts is you. You know that. After that, how can you ever again come back to the feeling I am the body, mind, intellect? You may still act because of the vasanas, but your knowledge is complete. Vasanas may make you do certain things. Your knowledge is complete. That I am the self. So that knowledge, that immortality is different. Other immortalities through actions, through upasana, through krama mukti, they're all relative, including devatas. So 9 to 11 is that. That is 9 to 11, karma and upasana. Same thing with different levels is taken 12, 13 and 14. There, normal karma and upasana. Here, sagunopasana and nirgunopasana. Nirgunopasana and sagunopasana. This nirgunopasana again can be contemplating on the formless, also trying to reach the state of blank, mind blankness, trying to stupefy the mind, eliminate all the thoughts. So that is also Prakriti Upasana, it is called. Going up to the end, you don't get the knowledge, but you detach from all the names and forms. Maximum, you can go up to that level, neti, neti, na iti, nat iti, not this, not this, not this. That is one. The second is manifest, like our worshipping sun, moon, Krishna, Rama. So all these are also Sagunopasana. In fact, seeing God in all, Sarvatma Bhava, that's also Sagunopasana. So there he took avidya as the individual avidya and upasana. Here, total avidya, which is called prakriti or mola prakriti, that is all the vasanas put together, which rest in Brahman, and which is the cause for the world to come back again and again after pralaya. That is called prakriti. That is called mola prakriti, means the causal prakriti. That is also maya. So that's unmanifest. Through meditation, without knowledge, you can only go up to that. Through meditation, without knowledge, you can only go up to that. Then you can meditate on forms, Krishna, Rama, sun, fire, etc. These two are taken in the next 3 verses. First 3 verses, rituals and upasana. These 3 verses, nirgunopasana and sagunopasana. Andham tama pravishanti yaha asambhutim upasate. He who worships the unmanifest goes to blinding darkness. Yaha sambhutim tataha bhuyaha yavate tamo yaha sambhutim rataha. The one who revels in manifest God or meditation, he goes into even greater darkness. Same logic as I said, because more and more dependent. And here also he says, both results are different. Anya devahu sambhavat, anya devahu asambhavat, iti sushrumadhiranam, yaha naha tad vyachachakshire, tad vichachakshire. So both are different parts, different results. So what you should do? Club them like earlier. How? Club them serially, not simultaneously. Sambhutim cha vinasham cha yaha tad vedo bhayo saha vinashena mrityum tirtva sambhutyam amritamasmute. Here two words are used. Sambhuti means manifest. Vinasha, that which is subject to loss. That means both are manifest. But earlier two slokas, he said Asambhuti and Sambhuti. That Sambhuti is manifest, which is correspondingly Vinasha. For Asambhuti, he uses the word Sambhuti here. This is a license in the Vedic literature. These are done, and you can, according to the context, understand them. Since both words, Sambhuti also manifest, Vinasha also manifest. Since both words seem to say the same thing, you add one R to the Sambhuti in the 14th sloka. That is what Shankara finds the solution. Asambhuti, you add R, that is permitted. Vedic license is permitted. And then Vinasha, Vinasha is manifest. So, through invoking the Asambhuti, unmanifest, and through invoking the manifest, serially, you gain Kramamukti. Now, there is a confusion here. You have to introduce the word, you have to understand why, right? Tapovan Maharaj makes it simple. Tapovan Maharaj makes it simple. What does he say? He says, why you want to change the literature? Vinasha, destruction of the world vasanas. Sambhuti, a pure mind born. Destroy the world vasanas. And invoke the new positive vasanas. By that, you don't have to change the literature. Vinasha, destruction of the world vasanas. Sambhuti, manifestation of the new vasanas, new man born. So destroy through Sagunopasana, and then through bringing the positive qualities into you, become fit for higher meditation. That is what Tapovan Maharaj says, which is much simpler. As I told you in the beginning itself, you don't have to be worried about contradictions, because they are not contradictions. They are the way each one sees them. So if you are going to argue this is right, that is wrong, you are in trouble. You are going to say everybody is right from their own standpoint, right? So here, the two words used are first Sambhuti and Vinasha. Since they both talk of the same thing, both talk about the same thing, the solution is found in adding the letter R. But Tapovan Maharaj method takes away that problem by saying you try to remove all the past vasanas and give place to a new birth, Sambhuti, spiritually. So that solves all problems. So here also, through Vinashena Mrityum Tirtva, through the manifest, you cross death. And Sambhutyam Amritamashnute, and through the unmanifest Upasana, you gain Kramamukti, the relative immortality. Here, the death that is spoken of is not the physical death, is the death of the ego, is the death of the ego. So now, what have we studied in Isa up to now? He has given path to the evolved Jnana Marga, to the others, Grihasthas, and their people who believe in karmas, believe in upasanas. He wants them to club together and gain gradual liberation. This liberation is of three types. One, immediate liberation through knowledge. Second, gradual liberation. The third, you got all knowledge, everything you got, but some small thing was holding on you. When you cast off this body, you got total clarity. That's called Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti, Krama Mukti. Those who don't understand difficult portions, do not worry now. As your experience grows in spiritual literature, you will understand them. Right now, whatever you understand, that you keep it. Rest, go on thinking. As you think, you will understand. The very process of thinking is called meditation. Now, it's all over. So he is now praying to God to reveal himself to him. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukam tattvam pushan apavrunu satya dharmaya drustaye. O sun god, Pushan, he is invoking sun god because sun is the center of the universe. Self is the center of the universe. So sun represents the self. He is invoking the self or the sun god externally. Please reveal yourself to me because the whole world is glittering. Is glittering. And that glittering thing is covering my self. So you, the giver of light, remove all these glittering obstructions. Hiranmaya means gold, glittering. Hiranmayena patrena, by the golden lid. The world is covered, world Brahman is covered through the golden lid, attractive names and forms. Myself also is covered by my infatuation with these attractions. O self, O sun god, kindly remove these things, obstructions, these golden lids for me. What right have I got to ask you? Because I am a serious student. Satya dharmaya drustaye. I am following the path sincerely, seriously. So you have to help me. Satya dharmaya drustaye. One prayer. Next prayer, same thing, put in a little different way. Pushan. Pushan again means sun. Yekarshe. Pushan, sun. Yekarshi, that is soul seer. The only seer is self or sun god. Yama, he who controls, because sun is time. Time controls everything. That is why Yama is the son of Surya. Yama Dharmaraja is son of Surya. Surya, Prajapatya, you are the son of Prajapati. Vyuhat, Rashmin Samohaha. You dispense. You have Rashmin Samoha. These various distracting rays, attractive, distractive rays. Please remove them. Tejo yette rupam kalyanatamam. Oh, as I am invoking you, I am able to see your beautiful form. Kalyanatamam. That which gives auspiciousness. Yette rupam, your own form. Tejaha, brilliant. Tatte pashyami, I am seeing. And then what is happening? Sorry. This form I am seeing. This brilliant Teja form I am seeing, Kalyanatama form I am seeing, auspicious one, Purushaha. So I must be, he is me. The form that I am seeing is me. Earlier, you say, I am he, Aham Brahmasmi. In that, still that I is there, ego. Still that I is there. When you say Sohamasmi, he is me, there is no I. This I is given to him. Sohamasmi. Earlier he sees the form. And he says, Kalyanatama Rupam, I see God, first experience. Then if he sees that God is me, Sohamasmi, the duality ends and the experience is complete. Over. Then the last two verses. The last two verses. It's a prayer. The 17th verse is just accepting his liberation. Vayuhu anilam amrutam. Vayuhu anilam amrutam. Atha Basmantam Shariram. O Kratago Sara. Kratos Mara. Krutakam Smara. Kratos Mara. Krutakam Smara. He is now telling, I am liberated. I got everything. Now let these elements try to reach their fundamental elements. Let my air mingle with the total air. Let my space mingle with the total space. Let this body be burnt to ashes. He is now liberated from the body, and he says, let the natural course take place with them. And then what I should do? Since I should not slip away, since I should not slip away from this understanding, till I get out of the body, continuously think of that experience you got, Kratosmara, Krutakam Smara. That experience, spiritual experience, what you got in life, the good things that you've done, all that you remember while you leave this body. And the last verse is praying for gradual liberation to fire God, who represents the Sagunopasana or your Devata. Here, fire God, because in the Vedic period, Krishna Rama was not there. Sun, moon, fire were only the gods. So here, the last verse, Agnenaya Supata Raye, Asman Vishwane Deva Vayunane Vidwan, Yodhya Asman Juhurana Menu, Bhuyishtam Te Namavukti Vidhema. Oh Lord, lead us in the path of wealth. Wealth means spiritual wealth. Vishwani Yena Vayunani Vidwan. Juhuranam Bhuyishtam Te to you. Yudhi means remove all crooked paths. Take me through the straight path. That is, do not make me come back again and again. The seeking of material gains and all that. Even Swargaloka. These are all crooked paths. Taking rebirth again for these things. Going to Swargaloka and coming, crooked paths. Please remove all these obstructions. Take me in the straight path. Straight path, when you take, it is not Jivan Mukti, because nobody can take you there. It is Krama Mukti, that is, lead me in the path of Krama Mukti to the Brahma Loka. Remove all the obstructions. That is the prayer in the last verse. So the first verse, Isha Vasya Medagam Sarvam, that is complete. The other verses were taught for people who were not able to get that experience as the teacher is taught. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyati Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. If you